Welcome to the selfgrowth.com show. My name is David Riklan, and I'm the founder of selfgrowth.com. Today, we'll be discussing healing, specifically the power of healing with higher energy. To help us understand this topic, I'm excited to interview Ed Strachar. Make sure to listen closely. We're going to be sharing a lot of information today. Before we get started, I want to take a couple of minutes and share some information on Ed. Ed is known as the healing genius, and we'll get into this, a most powerful remote distance healer who specializes in awakening life force and reviving the body's natural ability to heal. Ed's an author, speaker, and magical distance healer. We'll be talking about that is tapped into a powerful universal field of energy that allows him to do seemingly miraculous healings and energization of people in just a few minutes across any distance. So we're going to be getting into some of this. He's also training many of the world's fastest readers. He trained many of the world's fastest readers with his Reading Genius program. Previous to that, he invented a computer microchip used in aerospace and defense. By education, he's a mathematician, electronics engineer with many inventions and breakthroughs to his name, a dynamic speaker, coach, and healer worldwide, helping people in over 50 countries. Ed, welcome to the show.
David, nice to have me. Really a pleasure being here.
All right. I'm very excited about sharing a lot of information. I'm going to go deep with you today. But before we do, I want to offer something that you're giving away for free for everybody who's listening. And I'll tell everybody how to get it. Then we'll jump into the meat. As you know, I work with a lot of transformational leaders and business owners over the years. And I often hear people complaining about being exhausted all the time. So I'm going to be posting a gift that you're offering called 3 Keys to Raising Your Energy and Solving the Always Tired Syndrome. So I'm going to make that available. And folks, if you just want to write down a link to go, I'll also post this. It's selfgrowth.com/Ed. Very easy. Selfgrowth.com/Ed. All right, let's jump into some of the meat. I know you work with a lot of people. So what are some of the most common complaints that cause people to come to you? Who's coming to you and why?
Well, people know me through Facebook. And the great thing about Facebook, as opposed to a website, is Facebook is transparent. If I work with you and you advocate me, or you post a testimonial saying, I healed your knee, or I healed your cancer, or your tuberculosis, or your Crohn's disease, or your depression, you get tagged, I get tagged. People come and say, David, did you really write that? Or did he pay you, to say it, right? Yep. So you have that transparency with Facebook. Mm-hmm. And because what I do is so unbelievable, I connect to them through the internet, through the phone, almost never meet them in person. And we lift the disease, we lift the darkness, and we restore the life force. Now, doing that by phone and removing a common cold people maybe can get. When you do that with tuberculosis, when you do that with cancer, when you do that with a bad throbbing knee where they couldn't walk before the call, and after the call, they're walking fine with no pain, that's pretty hard for people on the outside to believe. So I've been called every name under the book. And it usually takes people a few months to watch and see the testimonials come through and realize that they're real, to say, wow, he's really doing something. And this is something beyond your average healer. So they come to me usually, the biggest things are depression, always tired, chronic fatigue. Right. But usually it's, I don't know what's wrong. I've been to 7 naturopaths and 3 medical doctors, and they've done all these tests and they can't find anything, but I know something's wrong. Those types of cases I specialize in.
Okay, that makes sense. People are going to go traditional means. They're going to go to their MD first. And, I've known people who've suffered from some of these things years and years, either chronic pain, chronic depression, literally their whole life. And people are at the point where they just need something. I absolutely get that. Yeah. So it's really a wide range of folks who've gone out there and they're at a point where they need help. They've tried everything, they need help. And one of the things I want to talk about is you talk about this concept that you're not healing disease, you heal souls with disease. What does that mean? What's that expression?
Right. There's an ancient Chinese principle, And one of my masters is from China, and he's ancient, meaning he's got a lineage many thousands of years, named Master Sha. And when you heal the soul, the mind and body follows. All healing must heal the soul. So if someone comes to me with a chronic elbow, and I've dealt with many chronic elbows, well, when they were a little kid and they fell off their bicycle, they had an elbow problem that healed right up. And now they're 47 and it's not healing right up. Well, what's the difference? Difference is their soul is a lot weaker. It's not as vibrant as when they were that little kid. So when we heal the soul and we raise the vibrance of the soul then knows automatically to heal the physical body. In that case, the elbow, right? I mean, I've dealt with, most of the time, people come to me with diseases that I can't even spell. I've got to look them up on Google. I don't address diseases. And actually, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a certified health practitioner. So it's illegal for me to actually even address a disease, but I don't need to. I work at the soul, I work at the spirit level. Now, you're an engineer, I'm an engineer. What we know is the soul is a bundle of energy. It's a bundle of energy. And that means that it has certain characteristics. It has a level of vibration. It has what we call a resonant frequency. Every piece of energy has a resonant frequency. Just like a radio station has a resonant frequency. So when someone's ill, their soul is off their resonant frequency. So if we could put that soul back on its resonant frequency, it feels strong and healthy again. Whoa, what a concept. And we don't need to do that physically. I'm not manipulating them like a chiropractor or a masseuse would. We can do that energetically. And that's one of the things that I've learned to do. I've taught people to do it. And when you heal that soul, the mind and body follow. So the depression goes away, the knee gets better, they feel much happier, and lots of things happen. So we don't really address the disease. It's helpful to know what it is, but we don't address it. We heal the soul.
Well, let me delve in a little bit deeper. When you talk about soul or spirit, can you give me a little more detail on what you mean and how someone recognizes what does that mean to me? My soul healing, my soul and my spirit. I'm almost picturing we have this inner energy or life force. So how are you describing this? So, and obviously it's very powerful because it impacts everything about us.
Yeah. So I had one doctor who I healed, and he asked me, "Where's the soul located?" As if he wanted me to tell him it's between the lung and the kidney or something.
Right.
No, the soul is your energy field. Okay. When you go to sleep and you dream, you're dreaming your way out there. You're in your soul. If you're in New Jersey, so if you go outside and you, God forbid, get hit by a car, the body dies, the body gets impacted, you float up and watch it before you go on to your next destination. So that's your soul. It's your energy field. And your energy field is everything. It's more important than your bone structure, more important than your lymphatic system, more important than your brain. This is your energy field. And it carries all the wisdom, all the interactions you've ever had. The soul never dies. Never.
Okay.
It's never born. It never dies. And it's part of the infinite soul. Think of like a little drop of water that's part of the ocean. Now, it may be separate temporarily, but it is part of the ocean. It's part of the Earth's natural ionosphere with water. And our soul is the same way with respect to the multiverse.
So the premise is the soul can be weakened and you can strengthen the soul, that you can, and the soul or the spirit, whatever we want to call it, or life energy or life source, if it's stronger, it will help us heal ourselves. If it's weaker, it's going to hurt us.
Think of a balloon. You have a big, healthy balloon and there's no leaks. It's a nice, healthy balloon. But we all know after we bought balloons, after a few days, they don't float anymore. They die to the ground. They get shriveled. Well, same thing with us. And think of that balloon, think of the mylar as the soul, and think of the air inside the balloon as the energy. Okay. So if energy gets weak, if the soul has leaks, like let's say you just got in a conflict, okay? Conflicts drain us. Say you got a number of conflicts, all right? Conflicts drain us. Let's say not you would ever do this, but other people went out drinking, okay? and you got rip roaring drunk and you came back and you had a headache, and now all of a sudden you don't feel yourself anymore because part of your soul has left. Or you let in things, being drunk and intoxicated, that came in and stole some of your soul, just like someone would steal your money. Well, in the spirit world, they steal your soul's energy. So now you're weaker, and now you got some dark stuff on you, and you don't know why, but you know it's not good.
Okay. So let me go in a different direction. So a lot of this has to do with what I describe as energy healing, because you're talking about the energy of the soul, energy healing. Does this energy healing work? Have you found it works with physical pain, diseases, injuries? You talked about a bunch of things. Does it work with virtually everything that's impacting you?
Everything is energy, David. Everything. Those beautiful books you have on the wall, they have energy. So you have a book there, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Now, on a physical level, that's paper and ink.
Right.
His soul is coming through that book. Okay. His spirit is coming through those words. He wrote that. He gave part of his life to impart that knowledge to us. So that wisdom, that knowledge is energy. And even that paper and ink is energy. So when we address a disease or an illness, a pain, whatever it is, at the cause, not just cover up the symptoms, but at the cause, then we truly heal, then we truly cure. And I remember not so long ago, I was diagnosed with a tumor, a malignant tumor in my bladder. Telling someone like me, excuse me, a little bit of cold here. Telling someone like me that I have a malignant tumor in my bladder is like telling an auto mechanic he's got the cracked engine block. Yeah, it's a big job, but you know, he knows how to handle it.
Hey.
I knew how to handle it. I demanded the spirit of cancer get off my system. I don't allow cancer in my system. I could literally feel my whole body adjust. I did special energy techniques to reduce the tumor, and I went and got an ultrasound. Tumor was greatly reduced, not almost gone. Okay, within a few weeks. And recently I healed another girl of an ovarian tumor, a gentleman with stage 4 cancer, a lady with breast cancer, man with tuberculosis, Crohn's disease. We don't address the Crohn's disease, tuberculosis, or the cancer. We go right to the cause. What was the cause? Now, in my case, the cause was anger. That was my issue. And I'm half Italian from New York. And so I can fly off the handle with the best of them. Okay. So with that, I had to resolve some things, and I did. So with that, we go to the cause. When I told the doctor, he said, let's go in and cut it off. I said, you mean operate, slice me up and just cut it off? He goes, yeah. Right. I said, so you're not addressing the cause. It's just going to grow back because you're not fixing what caused it in the first place. We got to fix what caused it in the first place. And so people realize when we work in a healing session and they go up into a high vibrational state. How's that for a term? They go into this high vibrational state where everything becomes apparent and they can transform the energy. They can transform the anger. They can transform toxicity. Then magical things happen, really magical things.
All right, I want to get back to how you do some of these things in a little bit, but let's cover, because a lot of the things you're talking about, for me and many people, is kind of almost magical, mysterious. And what I've always found interesting relative to the work you've done is how many people that I know that are just love what you've done, and how many people you've kind of transformed their lives, where, as we mentioned earlier, for a lot of people, you're almost the last stop. They've had typically something chronic that they have not been able to fix or repair, and they come to you and they've told me about it. I see your testimonials, but so I want to delve into a little bit deeper. But before, I have a few ideas that I want to put out there. So this energy help, this kind of higher energy help, you're talking about physical stuff, but I also have heard it helping people with almost with the financial. They're suffering financially. That this kind of energy also impacts not only your physical body, but who you are and what you're doing and your financial success. Is that what you found?
Well, see, you have this, remember the balloon analogy, the spirit is the mylar and the energy is the air inside the balloon. Well, most people carry the spirit of poverty on. Poverty is a spirit. Okay, you cannot have the spirit of prosperity and the spirit of poverty at the same time. You cannot have the fire and water in the same place. One dominates.
Right.
So most people carry the spirit of poverty for whatever reasons, through their ancestry, through their thinking, through watching too much the wrong TV, and so forth. So they carry the spirit of poverty. And it could even be that they were a priest or nun in a past life. They took a vow of poverty, and that vow of poverty is on their soul. So no matter what they try, they can't seem to get beyond that. So that is one aspect to it. I'll tell you an interesting story. I mean, I have many like this, but one guy came to me, he knew something was wrong. He didn't know what. A lot of people owed him money. He was an entrepreneur. He's trying to get off the ground and just can't seem to get his business going. His name was John from the UK. And after the first session, we lifted the dark energy off his energy field. Now, what dark energy does, just like a dirty windshield, it makes it harder to see. Your clarity is reduced, but also because it's negative, it repels what you want and it attracts what you don't want. This is the effect of dark energy. Repels what you want, attracts what you don't want. After our first session, he said 3 people paid their debts, and he didn't make any calls or anything. I mean, him and I worked on a Sunday, and on Monday they paid. One lady, she got the job opportunity she was waiting for weeks and weeks, waiting for them to call. Now, you could argue that's just a coincidence. But when it happens time and time again, it's not just a coincidence, especially when their knee also healed, their depression went away, and so forth. So it's more than just that. In another story, this 16-year-old football player who damaged his knee, his name was Ty Mulberger from Ohio. He thought his mom was crazy when she suggested, talk to Ed over Skype, he'll fix your knee. He thought she was absolutely Lulu. But the surgeon, the orthopedist said, the swelling should go down in a week or 2. Well, 6 weeks later, it wasn't down, it was hurting. He was in crutches and wasn't having any fun. So within 2 sessions, he was out playing basketball with his brothers, and he couldn't believe it. But he learned, and I told him, I said, Ty, the spirit of your knee knows how to heal your knee. You don't need someone to come in and try to heal your knee. The spirit of your knee knows how to repair all those tendons and the meniscus, and et cetera, et cetera. We need to energize that spirit of the knee and remove the blocks. And that we did. Knee healed. I've healed dozens and dozens of knees these days.
Oh, let me delve into a different area. So we've known each other a long time. We were just talking about this before we jumped on the show. I think you mentioned 2002 was the first, it was the reading genius days. So it was early on. Actually, I was still part-time with my business at the time. I didn't go full-time until 2003, but I was still building it. And I was talking about you with Mark Porteous. He's a mutual friend that we have, about what makes this work, this kind of this energy healing and this ability that you have. And for me, one of the things, and I just wanted to put this out and see what your thoughts are, is that a power of belief and attitude and belief in terms of how we feel. We know scientifically, a ton of studies, it can impact our body. So it can create things like endorphins and dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin, a lot of things, these neurotransmitters that heal, that have this ability to heal our body. So we can create stuff, as you know, we can create stuff in our body, chemicals in our body that have this healing power. And one of my thoughts, and we're talking about this, is as you have this power, this ability through speaking to people, working with people, to kind of impart that belief and that ability to them to create this energy, this power of belief that then gives them the healing, these kind of healing chemicals of sorts. What's your thoughts? So in essence, what you're doing is you have the ability to help them learn how to heal their own bodies through these almost chemical process of sorts. What are your thoughts on that? What is that accurate? Is that part of what's going on here, or something else? Where does that fit in?
That's a very accurate representation of what a chemical engineer would proselytize I'm doing, but it's not true. It's not hypnosis or anything close. Yes, you have to believe, because if you don't believe, your body won't do what you don't believe. So if you have a bad shoulder and you don't believe I can heal it, I can have Jesus and his 12 apostles with me You
Right.
don't believe that shoulder is going to heal. Your shoulder is going to listen to you, not me. If you open the door with a belief and openness to, hey, let it heal, that's all you need to do. It's nothing, no big rain dance.
Right.
Then it can start, then you open up the channels to let it heal. What I have and what I worked at, it's not a gift, kind of, it's not a gift, it is, but it's not. I worked at it quite significantly, is how to raise my power, how to raise what we call accessing higher dimensions of energy. There's no shortage of healers out there. There's a real shortage of very powerful healers. There's no shortage of people running around telling you herbs or Reiki or, Theta healing. There's lots of brand name things. You can go to YMCA for $39 and get a certificate. But there's very few people who can do what I do. There's very few people who understand how the earth really works. Truth has power. And I demonstrate my truth by demonstrating my power. So just recently, one of my beautiful employees in the Philippines was under a heavy rainstorm and the water was coming in her house. We did an exercise, we stopped the rain. I've done that many times. My teacher, Raymond Grace, taught me how to do that. And basically, I'll tell you right here, you communicate with the spirit of the weather and the spirit of Mother Earth. Native Americans know how to do this. You have that dimensional access. You can do that. Done that many times. Little boy dying in a hospital in Virginia. I happen to be across the world in Asia at the time getting a massage in a massage chair. I do a healing prayer, and within an hour or two, he's up and smiling and giggling rather than dying in intensive care. That's power. And I did that in a massage chair. No one even saw it. The people sitting next to me had no idea I was doing the healing. It's all from the heart. So why is that? People don't understand that there's a frequency fence around the planet. Most people cannot access the higher frequencies. Okay, just like sheep have a fence around them, and if one sheep escapes, the guard dogs go chasing after it and bring the sheep back into the flock. That's the way farms work. Earth is a farm. Most people don't understand that. The moon is a lookout station. Moon is not a planet. People can't handle that. The moon has dark intentions. It's a lookout station. It's a station to keep the earth farm intact. That's why when you have a full moon, lots of the crime goes up. It's dark energy. So you look around, most healers, I had a bookstore healer block me the other day because she was worshiping and celebrating a full moon. That's witchcraft, pure and simple. They're worshiping dark energy. You show me a healer who's worshiping the moon, I'll show you someone with dark energy, lower energy. Okay, so this is a reality that few people can handle. Most people think of healers, they think of Jesus, and they think of religion. Well, Jesus was a great healer, but how many pastors, priests, and nuns do you know that can heal? Well, I know billions of religious people. I don't know one besides Jesus who can really heal. There's probably one or two, but not many. And even though Jesus said, even the least among you can do the same as I and greater, not many are doing it, right? Less than a few, and there's billions of Christians out there. So there's a reason. And the truth is so profoundly way out there that most people can't handle it. Most people don't want to face the truth. They want to think the moon's just a planetary object, right? My father used to tell me when I was a kid, it was made of green cheese. Well, it's not made of green cheese, but it's not a planet either. So these kinds of profound insights are really dark and ugly that most people don't want to face up to. So figuring all this out, I figured out how to connect to those higher energy fields that most people don't have access to. And what that does, David, is it restores your soul or your life force, which in one extreme means awakening the dead. And when someone's got a dead knee, if they've had 4 knee operations, the knee is dead. You awaken, you restore the soul of the knee. That's what I'm able to do. As well, when someone has heavy darkness, and there's a lot of darkness on this planet, just watch the news, right? If you don't believe me. Then I have the power to lift that darkness. And lifting that darkness within a few minutes requires a lot of power. And that power is what most people don't have. Simple as that. They can't even see it, nevertheless have it. So when people come to me and they say, no one can, I've been to 17 healers and no one can help me, and I've been to naturopaths and I'm taking this and I'm doing that. And quite honestly, 20% of the people that come to me are ready to take their own life if I can't help them. They're in that much misery and
See,
pain.
they've given up. You know, they're ready. They've tried everything. I get that. And
Correct.
what's
Correct.
interesting is I get this idea there clearly is a lot of dark, what feels to me like a lot of dark energy in the
Correct.
world right now. And I think a lot of people would a lot of people would say there's a lot of dark energy. There's something going on right now. But for me, what impresses me about what I see you doing is just how many people have come to you, endless testimonials of people that you've impacted. And you started sharing some of this, that there's a lot of people that have this healing, but clearly you've developed skills that kind of differentiate you from other healers. And
Right.
one of the things, so I want to impress that upon people, that what I see from Ed is someone who's making a difference to people who've just been suffering for so long with whatever it is. And I know a ton of people that have been suffering lifelong with physical pain, with depression, with whatever it is, and they've been to every doctor, and people throw up their hands and there's nothing, and they end up going to Ed. So I know there's something that some ability that you have that's got to be different in terms of the approach. Yeah, I come from it. As you know, I have a chemical engineering degree, so I'm always trying to rationalize and kind of fit things into my chemical engineering mind. But what I do clearly see is so many people that are coming to you and seeing the effectiveness. And you brought up a few things. So I want to mention in terms of some of the things that you mentioned. I know you're someone there's no beating around the bush. You tell people what's on your mind. And sometimes you tell people what's on your mind, you polarize people. If you're speaking from the heart and are truly honest and tell people, and I know you speak from the heart, and sometimes that doesn't sit well with people. How do you handle, there's a lot of critics out there, they're saying you're making outrageous claims about whatever. I've heard people say you make outrageous claims about religion or politics or science, and you mentioned the moon and things. How do you handle the critics who are saying things like that?
Well, it's very simple. It's really simple. Mr. Critic, how many people have you healed? Okay. I go on a Facebook group. I show an interview with a lady who I healed of breast cancer. And he tells me, go back to selling shoes. And this is a guy who runs a natural healing group for cancer. And he doesn't understand his soul. He doesn't understand the mind. He's trying to look for the right herbs, as most people are. And he was very critical. And at the same time, I have a list of people I've healed of cancer. I said, where's your list? Don't have one, right? Yeah. So put me in a room with 100 doctors. Let's get Stanford University, Harvard University, Oxford University, Princeton, Colgate. Let's get their top 5 doctors, right? 50 of them in a room against me. Let's get 100 people in a remote location. I'll heal those 100 people over the phone. Let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do, even working with those people for an hour in person. Okay, injecting it with all their drugs. They can't do it. They can't do it. So proof is in the results. Results mean something. Actions speak louder than words. I can't tell you how many pastors I've gone toe to toe with. They go, only God heals. I said, read John 14:12, where Jesus says, even the least among you can do greater than I. I said, Pastor, you're one of the least among us. Go ahead. Shut up and do it. Shut up. Take that black book, which you think is the only word of God. If that's the only word of God, God is love. It should glow with love. Does it glow with love? No. It's a slave manual. In the Bible, it talks about slaves obey your masters. That's what it is. And people can't handle that. But at the same time, their pastors can't heal. The nuns can't heal. I've healed so many pastors, and many nuns come to me, healed entire orphanages over the phone. So they want to tell me only Jesus heals, only God heals, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they've been brainwashed. And look, I grew up Catholic. I was a born again Christian for 20 years. And so I know all that dogma. And when I had my troubles, I called all my pastors. They couldn't help me. All right. So, and I was ready to take my own life. One guy helped me, Raymond Grace. Was trained by Native American. He knew some things that were off the beaten path. And boy, did he help me. He taught me how to connect to these higher dimensions and ignore the blah, blah, blah in the dogma. And then I started realizing what religion is and how religion is used, as Napoleon said it. Napoleon said it the best. Religion is here so the poor don't murder the rich. Okay, you look at the poorest continent, Africa, tremendously religious continent.
Right.
So the poor don't murder the rich.
That's one take. And plus the opiate of the masses is the other. Is the other expression that comes up relative to religion. But
we've talked about this a lot, and people really get hostile when I offend their religion, but I'm here to speak the highest truth for the benefit of those who want to awaken. And if that means some people are offended, well, that's just part of the process. But it wouldn't be right if we didn't at least send them a big dose of love and create this energy that you and I talked about. And so if you're open, we can energize the audience. Literally, even people watching this as a podcast, later on, they'll be able to feel the energy off the podcast many years later on the recording. And with that, I've got a healing assistant who's really brilliant. Come on over. This is Eddie, my 15-year-old godson.
Hello, Eddie.
This is David.
Hi, Mr. David.
Okay, so
how are you?
Go grab a chair. All right, so Eddie is a brilliant healer, and every person has a different soul, so their energy radiates a little bit differently. So Eddie just woke up. You can tell. Okay, so with that, let me just change the camera a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
So when I count to 5, you breathe in, you've got to receive the energy. Now, this is subtle energy from the heart and soul. So you're a man, you suffer from man's disease. You're a white man, you suffer from white man's disease, which means when I tell you to feel, you try to think, okay? When I say feel, it means feel, not think, okay? So when I count to 5, you take a deep breath in and just allow your mind to go still and feel your love. Love, right? Chemical engineers understand love? You know that? Okay?
Somewhere back there. In
Yeah,
school,
good.
anyway,
All
a long
right.
time ago.
Okay, you ready? All right, so Eddie's going to do this alone, and then we're going to do it together. The count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Breathe in. Go ahead, Eddie. All heart, 110%. Double it. Double it again. Again. Okay, I'm going to join in here. On 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slowly open your eyes, David. What'd you notice?
A more relaxed state for sure. Kind of a core energy.
That's called
That's
your
what
soul.
I'm feeling.
You asked about your soul. That's called your soul. You call it the core. You feel lighter?
Yes.
Why? Because the heavy, dark energy was moved. Hello? You feel clearer mentally.
Yes, yes.
Okay? That's removing blockages, raising vibrations. That's done. So I've trained 15 people plus Eddie to do that, connect to these higher dimensions. It's teachable. Thanks, Eddie. Okay.
All right. So let me come back down. Let me share a couple things. I love just the focus for me, just the focus in deep breathing and the spirit of it is going to touch me whenever I do that. And I feel the energy of doing that all the time. But I know you do a lot of different things, and there's a couple of things I want to reemphasize. So we talked about earlier this gift you had, the 3 keys to raising your energy and solving this always tired syndrome. And I know Americans, for example, always overwhelmed, always an overwhelmed tired. And I just wanted to reiterate the link to get that. And it's selfgrowth.com/ed. And we'll have the link also, so we'll make sure everybody gets it. selfgrowth.com/ed. So relative to, we only have a limited amount of time today, and we delve deep into some areas. If people want to learn more about this and what you're doing and the experience, and or want to work firsthand with you in some of this, how do they get more information? Where do they go? What do they do? What's kind of next steps?
Right. So the easiest way for those who have an issue where they want to be healed, it always starts with a consultation. Then contact me through healinggenius.com. Facebook, if they can spell my name right, they can find me on Facebook. They can message me there. Or even ed.strachar@gmail.com, as long as they can spell my name right. So we have a consultation. I tune in, tell them what I see, and tell them if I think I can help them. We batter back some questions. Oftentimes they ask me about their father or their son or, Aunt May or something like that. And I usually tell them, well, if Aunt May can come, let's talk to Aunt May direct. And that's always the first step. For those who want to learn to be a healer, same process. We have a page where I only train elite healers. I only train people who are serious. I don't train hundreds at a time. And so they can come and inquire about that as well. And, but even just take a look at the Facebook page, or even on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Healing Genius, where you get to see the dozens, if not hundreds of people that I've healed and what they say. There's a number of radio interviews that I've been on, and I heal people on the radio or through the radio sometimes. And so they can listen to those sessions, and literally you can feel the healing energy many years later, which tells you that I'm working at a dimension beyond time and space. Because if you could hear that through the radio in a virtual space that was recorded 5 years ago, well, but time is a construct, it doesn't exist. And there are dimensions that are beyond time and space. So when a healer works at that higher dimension, phenomena like this occur. So you can feel the healing energy on those radio stations, and they're all on my YouTube channel, Healing Genius.
All right, healinggenius.com, and you have all the ways to contact Ed. Before we finish up, we've been going deep in a lot of areas. Do you have any final words or thoughts for people that are listening? And particularly, if you can focus, there's a lot of people that I know that have just been struggling with issues for a long time, and they've gone a lot of traditional routes. Any final words just for everybody, and then for maybe for those particular people?
Yeah. It comes down to, you have selfgrowth.com. So you have a lot of people who are chasing the top authors, the best-selling authors. You have all the books behind you there from great authors and so forth. But the answers are always inside your soul. And when you connect your soul to the infinite soul, you have access to infinite power and infinite wisdom. They always want you to think the answers are outside you. School trains you to believe the answers are outside you on a blackboard or in a book or something. You have connection to infinite wisdom and infinite power in your soul, and you can connect to the infinite soul. So it's like a raindrop connecting back to that infinite ocean. When you learn to do that, magic starts happening. You start becoming much more powerful, much stronger physically. You heal and you awaken. The answers are not outside you. They are inside you. Powerful, powerful principle. And in the Healing Genius system, I show you how to access and tap right into that.
All right. Ed, thank you very much for sharing today. We went through a lot of material. I want to thank you for your time. Once again, healinggenius.com. And I want to thank everybody for listening. And I want to wish everybody great success in all areas of their life. We'll talk to everybody soon. Take care.
David, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.